Knights Football Weekly on WKLM.
This week's Knights football preview brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg. West Holmes falling by just a point last week on the road to Tuslaw by a score of 18-17 in a game that saw 4 lead changes, including the go-ahead touchdown by Mustang star running back Brian Marthy with just 7 seconds remaining. Brandon, was a tough loss for the Knights, but one in which they battled a lot of adversity.
They certainly did. They overcame a lot, especially when you consider the fact that they didn't have their starting quarterback originally in Peyton McKinney. He's out for the year with an injury. And then in the second half against Tuslaw, a couple more injuries to big playmakers in Brady Taylor and Hayden Baker, as well as Caden Hawkins and Michael Miller being knocked out with injuries. All of that, of course, not an excuse for West Holmes that they're going to use, but that's a lot to overcome. And then, of course, the questionable spot on the 4th down play in the second half, late in that second half, where it ended up being called a first down for Tuslaw. It sets up that game-winning touchdown. It's a lot for the Knights to overcome, and just a tough fight to fight through.
It was a game that certainly had a little bit of everything, Brandon, no question about that. But give West Holmes credit for continuing to keep their heads up and giving themselves a chance to win despite all of that. Let's send it out to Jake Glasure, who's standing alongside Knights head football coach Zach Gardner at West Holmes.
Thank you, Matt, and I'm here with West Holmes head football coach Zach Gardner. Now, last week going into the game, you guys lost starting quarterback Peyton McKinney, but Noah Clark stepped up. He was 12 of 14 passing in that game, 151 yards through the air. Very efficient game from him. What were kind of your thoughts on his game and taking the reins of the offense for the first time?
Just like with everyone on our team, I was so happy with the attitude, effort, and fight that our kids showed, the willingness to step up and just to make plays and, to stare down the face of adversity and go out and make plays. And Noah is certainly a great example of that as a young player being thrust into, the toughest position to play in sports, quarterback. And for him to go out there and to, run the ball the way he did and control the offense and to complete the passes that he did to as many different receivers as he did, Noah's an exceptional football player, and he's only going to keep getting better with every rep that he takes.
Now, clearly it was a tough loss last week against Tuslaw in a game where you guys really had to overcome a lot of obstacles in that game, especially in the second half. Had a rash of injuries that came through. What's it going to kind of take this week to kind of regroup for this team after such a physical game?
Yeah, we just need to focus on ourselves and focus on getting better. I said this after the game, and I want to reiterate it. I have never been more proud of the way that a group of young men, facing the obstacles that they did and facing the adversity that they did, came out and, played, their tails off, put everything they had into it. And, when that happens, we're going to be happy with the result. But with that said, though, we're here to win football games, and that comes down to execution. And there's a lot of execution things, regardless of the circumstances of that game, that if we would have made execution-wise, that we would have came out with a win. And we're just working real hard on executing better. Got a very good football team coming in here this week. Defending state champions with an exceptional football player. And these are the type of games we want to play in and the types of environments we want to play in. And we're just excited to get out and have another opportunity to go out and execute the way that we know that we're capable of.
And like you just said, the Orville Red Riders coming to town, defending Division 5 state champions. Last week, you guys went up against a good running back in Briar Marthy. Doesn't get any easier this week with Marquell Parks coming to town, all-Ohio running back. What's going to be kind of the main challenges for this team going into this game?
Just to contain him. He's going to get his yards, and just to make him earn everything that he gets and not give them anything easy. And he's not the only player they have on their team. They have an exceptional passing game, and they're very good defensively. And like we said, this is the type of teams that we want to play and the type of environments that we want to play, because no matter what happens from this game, we're going to get better from it.
Now, one thing I've noticed throughout this year so far is really the front seven on the defensive end. Very good game, especially last week. I think containing Briar Marthy was impressive, especially out of the linebacking core. How important is that going to be this week as well?
Absolutely. We have to maintain gap integrity. We need to make sure that we take great angles. He's a different running back than the Tuslaw running back, who the Tuslaw running back wanted to run downhill. This is more of a finesse, speed, and get outside and all that stuff. So I'm excited about our defensive game plan and excited to see our kids go out and to execute it.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. Now let's send it back out to Matt, who's at Village Motors.
All right, Jake. I'm joined by Mike Kinsey now from Village Motors. Mike, 2020 vehicles are on the lot.
Yes, we have a good selection of 2020 vehicles here at Village Motors, and right now, the 19s are gone, the 20s are here, so I guess the 20s are the future. And like I said, we have a great selection, so stop in and take a look.
In addition to that, of course, plenty of Ram commercial trucks.
Yeah, we've really stocked up on some Ram commercial vehicles this year. Ram is a definitely competitor in the market out there, so we want to make it easy for the customers here to come. I know we've got a cab and chassis down there with a flatbed on it, and if we don't have what you want, we can get what you want.
And Mike, what kind of pre-owned vehicles do you have right now?
We have a good selection. I mean, we have different brands. We have a lot of SUVs, not too many cars. A lot of people aren't driving cars nowadays, but we do have some fuel-efficient vehicles out there. And again, we have plenty of SUVs, a lot of trucks. Again, if we don't have something here, I'm sure we can find it for you.
All right, big game for West Holmes on Friday, and a pretty talented team coming to town.
Yeah, I look forward to that, and I encourage everybody to go out, root West Holmes on, and, we will see one of the best running backs in the state of Ohio, I think. But I think West Holmes is going to take him.
It should be fun, no doubt about that. Again, that's Mike Kinsey, and the fall season is a great time to buy a vehicle at Village Motors. The last time West Holmes faced Orrville was back in the Red Riders' final season of the Ohio Cardinal Conference back in 2015 before parting ways and going to the Principals Athletic Conference. That year, the Knights fell 27-20, snapping a 3-game winning streak versus Orrville at the time. Orrville leads the all-time series with 27 wins and 16 losses. However, the first 6 years the two schools met one another, from 1967 through 72, the Red Riders outscored the Knights 255-10. Since then, however, it's been a very evenly played matchup throughout the years, but this year's matchup, Brandon, will be a very big challenge for West Holmes.
Absolutely. No question about it, Matt. Of course, they're off to a dominant start to the season, 2-0 after being state champs last year, and now they've got wins over Worcester and Akron North. The Akron North win last week 54-7, so a big differential there. And of course, their junior star running back, Marquell Parks, is quite a handful. He's got offers from Cincinnati, Toledo, rumored interest from Ohio State as well. And Parks is just an electrifying back with 141 rushing yards last week and just 5 carries through those 141 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 1 through the air. He made it look very easy. And of course, quarterback Cooper Haley is completing 9 of 12 passes for 227 yards last week. Finding a way to slow this offense down is going to be a massive challenge for the Knights.
Should be a lot of fun, no question about that. And don't forget that you can tune in this Friday night as West Holmes takes on Orrville in Knight Stadium. Our hometown football Friday night pregame show begins at 6 p.m. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. And of course, don't forget also you can tune in for this Knights football preview show each week throughout the Knights football season. For Brandyn Benter, Jake Glasure, Knights head coach Zach Gardner, I am Matt Croy, and this has been the WKLM Knights Football Weekly Preview Show brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg.
Knights Football Weekly on WKLM.